A jar full of sour wine was standing there. So they put a sponge full of the wine on a branch of hyssop and held it to his mouth. When Jesus had received the wine, he said, "It is finished." Then he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. It may be unusual, but Good Friday is the day in our liturgical calendar that I look forward to most. While I appreciate the wonder of Christmas and the joy of Easter, I find myself yearning for Good Friday because I feel I can be truly free to lean into the sadness of the day and just mourn. And I'm a crier. I walk into church with a pack full of tissues, prepared to just fall apart and think about the pain of the day and his last words, like, "It is finished," when he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. But I also come to mourn for the world. It's hard to open myself up to feel the sorrow of life around us sometimes, and it's easier to keep it closed away in a box. It's hard in the day-to-day of work and family to let myself take the time to mourn for the violence and destruction in our world, and especially for the epidemic of mass shootings in America. It's easier to let myself be numb than to let myself feel all the pain. It's easier to be numb than to feel the deep sadness that our leaders would rather shrug their shoulders at gun violence and call it an unsolvable problem, or would prefer to scapegoat already marginalized people as the cause, or to traumatize our schools with more lockdown drills, or expel the few leaders from the places of leadership who dare to raise their voice against it. But this latest failure of our country's refusal to regulate assault weapons came screaming at me out of the headlines, and it hit close to home in a way that I couldn't turn away from. 3 adults and 3 children were killed on March 27th in Nashville. The children were Evelyn, Hallie, and William. They were all age 9. My daughter is 9. I see my daughter and her friends, all age 9, as I take her into school every day. They hold hands as they walk down the sidewalk, heads close together, whispering 9-year-old secrets. So joyful to see each other again after a long 18 hours of being apart. I feel so lucky to be part of her life, to watch her as she experiences more and more of the world. 9 feels so grown to me right now, so full of promise. 9 feels on the cusp of so much more. Those teen years are peeking around the corner, but not here yet. She's still a little girl who's playful and silly, who loves biology, loves her dolls, her hamster named Sky, and boba tea. And then I think of those 3 young lives in Nashville. On Sunday, March 26th, their lives were also so full of promise. They were on the cusp between childhood and so much more. And on Monday, they walked into school, maybe holding hands with friends and whispering secrets. And on that day, their lives were finished. There have been moments these past couple of weeks where I've had to stop in my tracks and just breathe, as Reverend Thorne teaches us, through the pain that I'm feeling, just because of the simple coincidence of similar ages between my daughter and those 3 9-year-olds. Their lives were finished in a way that was scary and painful. And I think, like so many parents do, what if it were my child? But I know that any pain I feel pales next to the pain of the parents at the Covenant School. And so today I come to mourn for them and for all the lives that are lost, that are finished by gun violence. While there is mourning and sadness on Good Friday, there is wonder as well. It is a wonder that our God suffered and knows the anguish of a frightening death on the cross. And it is also a wonder that our God the Father knows the pain of a grieving parent whose child's life was finished too soon. But the other wonder of Good Friday is that this isn't the end. It is actually just the beginning of so much more to come. And so I offer this prayer today to our suffering, grieving God as we contemplate Jesus' words on the cross as his life was finished. God, please help us to remember that although today we mourn, that this is not the end. As we, as a church, weep together for the sadness of a world where Jesus was crucified, where children's lives are finished and parents are left to mourn. There's communal transformation as we move through numbness and mourning toward the lives you call us to live, working together to create this world in your image. Amen.